of this was decided.
You really think you can change the future?
All of this was decided.
The truth is what you see with your eyes, not what you hear.
Good tidings, ladies and gentlemen of the Lodge, and welcome back. Today we are serving up another video for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This one, a little speculation about a certain character that may appear. That character being none other than the great Minerva. There has been so much talk about whether or not we could expect to see Genesis, Angeal, Cisne, and many other characters from Crisis Core, but not much talk has been around Minerva. So in today's video, allow me to make the case for Minerva's appearance in either Rebirth or the next installment. So first, let's begin with a brief summary of who Minerva is for those who may not be up to speed. Minerva appears to us in Crisis Core as a supernatural being with heavy implications relating her to the consciousness of the planet Gaia. To Genesis, the one that she appears before, she is the goddess in the poem of Loveless, which, as we all know, he continually recites obsessively. So let's start here. If we are to believe that Genesis is due to make a comeback in Rebirth, then to me that would signal that Minerva is being set up to return as well. Seeing as the end of Genesis's arc in Crisis Core heavily involved Minerva, along with his pursuit of the gift of the goddess that led him to Minerva in the first place. With that in mind, let's take note of some of the developers' comments in regards to this exact situation. Quote unquote, Minerva's facial expressions are meant to be hints to the Lifestream's judgment, such as Genesis has not yet completed his duty as a soldier, and Genesis, in quotes, still has much left to learn. So, taking that in stride, I have the link for it in the description if you need it, but taking that in stride, it would appear as though Minerva sent Genesis back to the real world to carry out his mission as it was seen to be incomplete. If that idea intrigues you, be sure to check out this video on Genesis I made a while back. But anyway, getting back to Minerva, we see that she is innately connected to Genesis, as her one appearance in the series was catalyzed by Genesis's journey in Crisis Core. When we also consider with him being the final canonical shot in the OG compilation at the end of Dirge of Cerberus, and with the new trilogy integrating aspects of Advent Children, Crisis Core, and other compilation entries, it opens the door for Minerva to make her return. But what about Minerva's chances of appearing outside of Genesis? So let's for a minute remove Genesis from the equation and see how she could possibly fit into the story. So for that, I will turn our attention to Aerith, Jenova, and Sephiroth. Let's start with Aerith. We know that Aerith is communicating with the planet's consciousness and is being sent visions and messages of the original game's events, which can also be seen as the events of the future. Could it be possible that Minerva is the one communicating with Aerith in this way? Let's ponder also that this would make an amazing parallel to Jenova and Sephiroth. In a way, you have Jenova, who is this alien virus figure that represents a sort of malevolent force of nature, and in contrast, you have Minerva, a seemingly benevolent spirit of the planet's consciousness, presenting more of a divine benevolent force, even though there are undertones of self-preservation going on between that conflict. We see how this can relate and create a solid parallel, with Aerith being our earthly stand-in who represents a sort of ethereal force, and in the same way you have Sephiroth being an earthly stand-in for Jenova, who also sort of acts in a more ethereal manner when compared to Sephiroth and Aerith. No matter how you spin it, whether Minerva appears in the next game or not, the stage is certainly set for her to make an appearance. Whether we look at Genesis and the potential for his involvement to be in this story, whether we look at the amount of attention and more focus that Jenova as a villain appears to be getting this time around, and when we consider that the original turn of events is changing in order to allow more of the compilation to bleed into the story. We see that with Dirge of Cerberus and Intermission, we see that with Advent Children in Sephiroth. I'm willing to bet whether it be Zack, Genesis, or Minerva herself, we're going to see more of Crisis Core start to bleed in to the new Final Fantasy VII trilogy. But with that said, dearest viewer, I want to know what you think. Do you think there is a chance that Minerva appears in the next couple of installments? Or do you think that she's going to remain in the background like she did in the original compilation? You let me know. But anyway, until then, you all be good out there, be good to yourselves and each other, and I will see all of you beautiful sickos and normies next time.